Welcome back, MD&M 2025 News and Brews. I am your host, Lisa Block, and I have my amazing co-panelists here to tell us all of the good stuff that they have experienced so far. I know your day has been chock full of good stuff. I've had an amazing day, by the way. I don't want you guys to be jealous, but I've had a pretty awesome day so far.
I know you got to speak with students today.
I did. Pretty powerful students, too.
Sounds pretty awesome.
Shout out to all of the students in the building. They were doing their thing up there. Listen, and they were rowdy. They were making us look bad, you know? We were looking downright geriatric.
How could anybody make you look bad?
You know what? It takes work.
But it
happens.
I don't see it.
It happens.
I'm
really just saying. It was really good. It was good to hear just some discussion about some of their personal experiences. And then it was good to see people that are ultimately just interested in all areas of advanced manufacturing. And they were here to gain some knowledge from all of these experts, all of these subject matter experts, just to find out, how do I get in? Who's opening the doors for me? So it was a great opportunity. If you haven't checked out the Student Summit, you missed a treat. It was really awesome.
You know, along with that topic, I had the opportunity to talk with Hannah from Westminster Tool, and we were talking about diversity and what diversity actually looks like and means, and how that is represented in students, right? And different people of ages, colors, races, genders, whatever that looks like, right? And the idea that everybody is welcome into this space, and all people together is what makes us good. That difference is what makes us better. And if you haven't had a chance, if you didn't have a chance to listen to that, hopefully you'll be able to go back and find that and listen to it, because Westminster Tool does an amazing job with their culture. They have a young workforce, the youngest workforce in the mold making industry, and they do a great job of building that next generation so that they can build better parts. She is a great resource and a great person to talk to.
Do they track it?
Absolutely, they have.
Do they track the benefits associated with that particular program? How do they do that?
Scott, they have metrics for everything. They data point every single part of their process, and what they do is they invite their team in to help them create the things that need to be tracked, right? So it's not just one guy sitting in an ivory tower saying, this is the data that we need. They task their team to say, what's the data that you think we need to measure so that we can find the best success as a company?
And I think it's honestly just knowing what that means and what it is and how it plays out. Because the truth of the matter is that diversity is very visible in every bit of what we do every day. There's diversity of technology. There's diversity of skill set, right? I talk to people a lot about what we call invisible diversity, which is the experience that a support staff member may have with an engineer just based on the engineer having more experience than them. Like, there are all of these different areas where it creeps up. And so a lot of times we get, we can kind of fall into this interesting little place where we think we know what it means, and then it comes out and you realize, oh wow, there's so many other areas where we can expand and we can grow.
Absolutely.
Additive manufacturing is absolutely diverse. It has like 7 different technologies, no lie.
No kidding. And it's amazing, all the different, and we talked about this before, all the acronyms that I have no idea what any of them mean. You tried to explain them to me. And you did a great job.
Yes.
Right, you did a great job with that. You know, to your point, Scott, when you were asking about the data, what I love that they do is, so say you learn something, right?
Okay.
I have this shiny thing, right?
Right.
And you are walking the shop floor and you've never seen a piece of metal that's shiny or reflective. And perhaps you go over and you think, I wonder what that feels like.
Yeah.
And you touch that metal surface.
Right.
Well, what you don't realize is now
it.
you have just introduced the opportunity for rust into this part.
Right?
And so instead of reprimanding you and saying, Scott, what are you doing? Why would you do this thing?
Do not touch.
What they have done is they've created a culture where they come alongside you and they go, okay, so you shouldn't do that, and here's why. And then they teach you what happens when you touch raw metal and what happens to that process. And then what they do is they give you the opportunity. They have a 7 o'clock meeting every day.
Wow.
And they allow people the opportunity to share the things that they've learned in a way that allows people to fail up. So now you would be able to come to this meeting and say, hey guys, I had the opportunity to learn something yesterday. When you touch shiny metal, this happens. That's why you should avoid doing that. And now everybody in the company has now just become better and grown because of this one incident.
So is the company growing?
Yes.
So there is bottom line value.
Yes.
And do
In
they
everything.
have sort of a backlog of opportunity. People that are saying, hey, I hear about it. So the challenges that we deal today with resources, people, the most valuable component of your business.
Absolutely.
They're sort of reaping the benefits of that commitment.
So where most people are looking for skilled labor, they're looking for young people to come into their organizations and help revitalize things. Yeah. Westminster has a stack of resumes that are people that want to come work for them in a little small town in Connecticut. And they are a huge manufacturer and a huge contributor, and they get involved in the community, and they are always out there trying to do more stuff. It is amazing the way that they're doing things.
It is. I had an interview today when I was talking to someone, and he was saying, listen, I'm not getting any younger, and so I need some of the next generation to come alongside me so that we can pass on this information and continue to grow. But at the same time, I wish that I heard more, and that's awesome, and shout out to you because I told you on camera that it was amazing. But another thing I really wish is that we got to a place where we were fostering environments where we had mentorship programs so that that Passover was not such an excruciating process, because the older, more experienced operators understood that they were valued, right, to the degree that they wouldn't allow fear to not make them train. Because I think sometimes it's like, this is my job, I'm not quite done yet, so I'm not necessarily willing to pass along the information, right? And knowing that what they're doing is really just collaboratively coming together and putting the company in a better position. I wish we had more understanding that we're not saying this means that we don't need you anymore. We absolutely need you. We need what you got. We need your goods, but we just need to do it together.
Do you think, and I grew up, I went through an apprenticeship program, I became a lineman, and that was a 4-year journey, right?
Yeah.
But you definitely learn from the seasoned, linemen. Do you think that our education system as a whole, is it nimble enough to be able to handle the changes that are taking place in manufacturing? Are we doing a good job at that?
You're going to ask me a very controversial question on camera, Scott. The answer is no. I don't think our educational system is nimble enough. But at the same time, I believe that experience is meant to fill the gaps where education does not come in. We have seen for years and years on end how many people have graduated, gotten the diploma, come to the job, and had no idea what they were doing, right? So I think it's always going to be a collaborative approach. We're always going to have to fill in the gaps. And I think we're in a time now where they want to teach even less and show even less. And it's going to be a collaborative intention that we set, where we say, I'm coming to this knowing I don't know everything, and I need you to help me. And we need to, as companies, mobilize mentorship programs so that we can take that control back in our hands. We can't just leave it to the education, because it's not working anymore.
Yes, I agree with you. There's if you look at it from a linear perspective, if I drew a line, and then in that linear perspective, it has a rate, a speed.
Yep.
You have two different competing. You have that traditional education, which has a, you know the cadence and the speed and the learning and all that stuff. Here, at events like this, we come and we talk next year. I guarantee you, there's going to be somebody that comes out and just says, "Oh my gosh, this is a amazing solution."
Oh yeah.
And so there's a speed, there's a velocity that can't be matched. We've got to just recognize that.
I think we're going to see, I'm sorry, Tony, let me just say this.
Go ahead.
I think we're also going to see a burgeoning of more and more trade schools. I think we got away from that. When I was going to school, we had wood shop, we had metal shop, we had all of these places where you could use your hands and you could be intentional about learning to use your hands. And I think we're going to see that come back in the market. What do you think?
Talking with my kids, I have an 18-year-old and a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
And they are tired of iPad kids, right?
Yes.
They don't want just technology. They want to be using their hands and doing those other things, right? And I think that generation has shifted, right? Where I was a generation where we were riding our bikes all day, we were outside, we were doing all these things. We wanted to be able to, computers were new, right? And awesome to be in the house.
I'm ashamed to say yes, computers were new.
Yeah, right? Like, so it was a luxury to be able to play with a computer and do all those things.
Yeah.
And now kids don't even get a snow day because they can do school from home on their computers. And so they've shifted gears from I want to be on a computer to I want to be able to do things with my hands, and I want to be able to experience things and move in ways that are different than my everyday life.
I don't think that we're in a coincidental time here. I think we are the benefactors of a hands-off generation where we've said, let them figure it out, take our hands off. We don't really need to get in there, because there was a time when if you didn't learn something at school, your parents pitched in and they helped you, right? They didn't. My mom was like, listen, go outside and climb a tree or something. You're not going to be in here watching TV all day, right? It was still that thing. So I think when it comes to how we're fueling the next generation, we're going to need to fully, like, with intention, focus on their inquisitive nature. They want to learn, but they don't want it to be a just add water, flip a switch, and you can figure it out on your own. They want you to show up, give them a wrench, show them how to turn it, show it how it works, and then let them see the benefits of making something. We're creating maker spaces, and we're returning to maker spaces.
I think my experience with children is they want to learn, but they don't want to be told what to do. Right?
Well, that's not new.
Well, I know.
We've never wanted to be told.
But they want to experiment, and they want to play, and they want to do things together, right? Like you buy your kids a Lego set.
Yeah.
They don't want you to put it all together for them.
Well, buy them a 3D printer.
They want you to help them find the piece and point out the piece so that they can pick it up and put it together. And I think too many times what we do is we find the piece and then we put the piece on there for them instead of letting them have any part of the building process.
I hear what you're saying. So Scott, so let me ask you this. As a lineman, you've had all this experience in industry and you've done it. So you're back at a place now where you're able to kind of just take an overview of the entire landscape. How do you see that process working in a way that the normal guy working on a metal shop floor, right, or the guy in the job shop, the machinist, all the way up to advanced manufacturing centers around the world, how do we take all that knowledge, that gentlemen like you that have all this experience, how do we translate that to the new generation so we continue to fuel the industry forward?
Yeah, this is interesting. I've thought a little bit about that. When I was a boy, and I was in elementary school, and we would see videos, film.
Film, ladies
on the
and
reel.
Yes, microfiche.
Yeah. And there was always that one kid that knew how to run the whole thing, so that wasn't me. Anyway, but I remember vividly as a young boy watching those films. Yeah. And being able to go, wow, that's pretty cool. Oh, is that how bread gets to the store? Something as simple as that.
Yeah.
And that inspired me. It opened up opportunities. We don't do that anymore.
The innovation of processes.
Yeah,
we just following a process and just looking at how it's done.
It was so fascinating, and I miss those days. I miss those opportunities, and I think that we need to do that in a more formalized way. And it's not as if the technology doesn't exist.
No. Yes.
I mean, we can do that and try to inspire.
And the opportunity exists as well.
The opportunity.
I think the word you said is really important, that word inspire.
Inspire.
Right? Yeah. Inspire and motivate. So, I was just talking a little while ago with somebody that, a few years ago, nobody wanted a custom chopper. Nobody wanted to build a custom chopper.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to look at a custom chopper. And then OCC came out.
Yep.
And they made it look cool. They made it look sexy. They made it a thing that nobody knew existed, right? You saw one guy driving around on this custom bike, and you're like, wow, that's amazing. And then the show comes out and revolutionizes that. So how do we get people together? How do we get organizations to chip in and create a show and a way for kids, and not just kids, people, to see that all the things that we're doing are cool. A combination of, how is it made, dirty work, OCC, Duck Dynasty. Take all that together, slam it into one show, and get people engaged in what this is.
Dude, okay, I'm gonna venture into the parental side of that. Yeah. Is it incumbent upon the parent to show these other options? Because for a long period of time, your child was going to go to school, go to college, get a college education, and so on. And here's this whole area over here that was not getting the love that is necessary.
Yes.
And many who go to college would have been a fine individual for the trade and industry side,
yes.
manufacturing.
Yes.
But we didn't do that because it was like, go to school, go to college.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm gonna wrap up because I know we got some great things coming up. But what I want to listen, of course,
that's a good tease for later. We'll bring that back because I got some thoughts.
That you see that I can talk to these guys all day long, okay? And I have. We have some awesome conversations. Be quiet, Tony. We have some amazing conversations. We're going to come back to you with those conversations, but we'll wrap up with saying this. I think we're all in a place now where we realize how important it is for us to be in tension with innovation, and I'm super excited to be at MD&M West 2025 where we see it actually happening. So I don't want you to go anywhere. Don't take your foot off the gas. We're still here. Day 3. We will see you soon. Take care.
Cheers.